Hi, I'm Marcus.
And I'm Nick.
And we are Working Class Nerds.
We're the podcast that gives you no information about your favorite information.
Today is Thursday, June 14th, 2018. You can find this terrible podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Buzzsprout, Stitcher, and more to come.
This week's episode, we're breaking down Solo, a Star Wars story, with none other than Dent himself. So, Dent, what have you been up to this week?
What have I been up to this week? So, starting Sunday, I opted with Marcus on Death Star Troopers. Then my Monday night team, we raided, and we were trying to do Temple of Sacrifice, but we're still having problems with that. One more week, we get it.
But you got the Underlurker down, didn't you?
Yeah, that was we got it down with one person up.
Okay.
So it's still a win.
Yeah, a win is a win.
Is Temple of Sacrifice the one with Darth Malgus as the final boss?
No, Darth Malgus.
Oh, sorry,
not,
Revan.
Yeah, it's Revan. Is the final boss. Malgus is the final boss on False Emperor, the Flashpoint.
Okay, I stand corrected. I was looking it up earlier.
What else have you been doing?
What else? We did Mandatory Fun Night, and we did a bunch of Grease stuff and some Conquest stuff, which is a blast. And then last night I was again raiding with Marcus on his sub team, filling in as an off tank. We got Isaac's down. It was awesome.
It is awesome. There was one of us alive.
Again, it's a win.
I agree. Oh, every time you wipe in that fight, it takes so long to get back to the point where everybody died.
Yeah, considering with all the phases and the lengths of the phases.
Yeah, Bishop said it perfect in the beginning of the night before we started. I thought it'd be a long time before we were back here.
Yep.
But it was a lot of conquest points.
Conquest points, and it was also group finder. So that always helps.
But you forgot the introduction. You failed, Nick.
What?
He's not just Dent. He's the Masterson of movie reviews.
Oh my god!
So we're Dad.
Yeah.
Whatever. I love it.
So awesome.
Dent's our unofficial official movie reviewer because he sees like 7 movies a week. And
he's got the movie pass.
Yeah, he has the movie pass.
No, I don't have movie pass.
Wait, isn't that actually a service?
No, I don't. I don't use that service.
Yeah,
my wife does. Actually, my wife sees more movies than I do.
Oh
wow, that's crazy.
I got that for her birthday last year, so she used it a lot.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I had said he has the movie pass. Because I had forgotten that Movie Pass, quote unquote, is an actual service, and I think it's like you buy, I don't know,
it's like $10 a month, and you get 1 ticket a day to see a unique movie. So if you go see a movie one day, you cannot receive that movie. I think those are the current rules, which they've changed midstream, which is unfortunate.
Okay, yeah. So you can see every movie once for $10 a month.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
Well, that's insane.
That's a lot of movies. You can go see every single movie.
Well, when you guys said Movie Pass, all I thought was The Fifth Element with Bruce Willis.
Multipass.
Multipass.
Lilo Dallas Multipass.
Yeah. That's all I can think about. Multipass. So, Nick, what have you been doing this week?
So, last week I did a lot of stuff with SWTOR. Earlier last week I bought this crazy bundle on Amazon that Marcus sent me the link to. And it basically gave me all the expansions for SWTOR and enough cartel coins to buy like the Master's Compendium or Master's Datacron or something like that. I forgot what it's actually called. But it's the jump to level 70 thing with one character. And I did that with my Sith Juggernaut. That was awesome. So, of course, immediately after I did that, Marcus is like, okay, come on, we're doing Mandatory Fun Night with Max and Seema and Dent and a bunch of AIE people. And we did my first op, which was Terror from the Beyond. I think that's the name of it, right?
Yep. It's a great ops.
That was awesome. It all happened so fast. I went from like, I don't know, a little new Nick just doing the story missions, like level 21 or something, 23 or something like that. All of a sudden, within a span of 20 minutes, have all the DLC, have a bunch of cartel coins, spent some of them, and I'm level 70 now. Went from like 7 abilities to like 25, and then I'm thrown into an op with like, I don't know, 12 other people or something like that.
15
people. And I was like, I was just trying to organize my abilities, and thank God for Dent here for sending me a picture of what his, task, or not taskbar, but quick slots look like.
Yep.
Because without that, to just like shove in 7 or 8 of them quickly before the op started, I would have my rotation would have sucked. I would have died way more than I already did.
Well, you would have been fine because as long as you hit 1 and 2, like your 2 major attacks, just 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah,
you would be fine for a mandatory fun night.
It's true, but I wanted to do like decent, and I died anyways. But I was just terrified not to screw up, and yeah, it was awesome.
Well, the goal for mandatory fun night is just to have fun with it, not to, worry about mechanics too much.
That's true.
And it's also an opportunity for new players or players who don't really get to do ops on a regular basis to see them.
Right. Well, it was just awesome because everyone, Max was really, really supportive. Obviously,
he's really good at hosting that. Or I should explaining it, now hosting it. He explains it really well, and he knows the fights so well.
Yeah, he loves to tell the stories of the fights.
Yeah,
especially when we have new blood in the group.
Right, exactly.
It was fun.
Well, and for you, Nick, what's nice is you can do your class story at home, but now you can come and do stuff with us on a given night because you're level 70. Because believe it or not, your first tune, you want to do the story, you want to enjoy it. You're not in a rush. You want to kill all the guys, do all the bonuses. Right. So now you're level 70. You still can do the story. We can get you gear, and then you can start popping in with us every now and again, and we can start you off on the easy stuff. So then you get the full circle of the experience rather than just the solo
story stuff.
Yeah,
for months and months before I got to 70 naturally.
Yeah,
right. It was awesome. Yeah, I just thought it was funny. Like, I don't remember what phase it was, but it was like, hey, Nick, so, Max is explaining, blah, blah, blah. See that giant lightning going off right there? It, like, fills up half the screen. When it turns off, make sure you're not standing right where it was so it doesn't kill you. Oh, yeah, no problem. I got it. Giant lightning. Can't miss it. Won't be an issue. 30 seconds later, the first time it turns off and turns back on. Zap. Hey, you weren't kidding about that lightning, huh? Really? It gets you pretty quick. Thanks for the res.
Yeah. Thanks for the res.
I pretty much hadn't done any more group content after that. I just played my class story as much as possible. I'm doing, the Sith Warrior class, which I had said before. And I'm in the middle of the Alderaan stuff. I just killed the Padawan's family.
Well, fuck that. You just skipped over the greatest place on the planet.
Oh, Tatooine?
Did you go to the Dune Sea?
The Dunes? I think so. For like a second.
If he went to the class story, he probably was out there.
Yeah, I went.
Did you find the Sarlacc pit?
No, I didn't see the Sarlacc pit.
Are you kidding me right
now? I was
now?
just rushing through the class story, okay? I'm just a noob.
So while we do this podcast, let's all log in and take him to the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah, because there's a Datacron at the bottom.
Oh, should I get that?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. I'll pause the podcast.
We're not pausing the podcast so you can get the Datacron. You can do that later and take a picture of it once you have it.
I will. I'll post it on Twitter.
Now, so what I love about Tatooine is the vast desert, right?
It is giant.
Yeah, it's giant. And then you go to Alderaan and everything is just alive.
Yeah.
It's good, right?
Sorry. I just took a sip of a beer I haven't had in a long time. Super Sap from Treehouse. It's really good.
So Alderaan is breathtaking.
Yeah. Everything is like lush and beautiful, and there's snowy parts and grassy parts. And yeah, it's like all 4 climate parts whereas Tatooine is pretty desolate, but all just a giant, vast desert.
Yeah, and make sure you go to House Organa and do a little hat tip to Miss
The
Leia.
ancestors of Leia.
Yeah, the 3,000 years plus before Leia.
Yeah, that's pretty cool that and obviously they end up winning that Civil War and staying in power the whole time.
Yeah, but when she passed away, Carrie Fisher passed away, there was an unofficial memorial service at the palace.
Oh, that's cool.
There was
where just players just showed up and just hung out.
That's cool.
I think I have screenshots of that when I was there.
Yeah, I remember you sending it to me. Just a bunch of people at House Organa, which I didn't understand at the time, but now I do. That's really cool.
And I what book did I just listen to? Not Tarkin. What am I listening to?
Ahsoka?
No, it was a Darth Vader book.
Sith Lord?
No, it was like the Rise of Darth Vader. It was like the first
one.
Well, no, it's canon though. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's canon. It was like the first Darth Vader book that was canon.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Are you talking comic book or
No. I'm talking book. Real book.
He's listening to him on Audible.
Yeah, I'm an Audible guy.
I'm just trying to think of the novel that's Vader centric. The only one I'm
Star Wars Dark Lord. The Rise of Darth Vader. So Carrie Fisher was in it, and
in the audiobook reading?
Not actual Carrie Fisher, but like Leia was in it, I should say.
Yeah.
And it just made me so sad because she's talking about, the process. And it's just sad to know that she's not with us anymore.
Yeah, that book is actually is not canon.
It's not?
No, that was published in 2005 before Disney purchased Lucasfilm.
Oh. But everything seemed really canon. All the stuff kind of lined up.
That's one of the things with Legends. The everything that was decanonized, they call Legends now, is that they still pull from that pool of stories.
Right. Which I think they did for a lot of the pieces of Solo, or they were trying to sort of.
Yeah, there are bits and pieces of that which we can go into later.
Yes, we can. So that's about it for me. I myrtleited Jedi Master Yonlok, which was pretty sweet over in Tatooine, and then pretty much did the same with Padawan's family in Alderaan, which was pretty awesome. Got to get those dark side points. My guy's just bad to the bone. I'm nice to my companion Vet. Is that how you say her name?
It's because she's sexy.
Yeah. I'm nice to Vet, and that's about it. I'm even a dick to Darth Barris because fuck that guy. I'm sure I'm going to kill him soon. I got to be close to the end of that era, and I can just become a Sith Lord myself. Take over his bitch ass. But anyways, so Marcus.
Aren't you up for surprises?
Yes, he is. And that's, but then that's the best part about it is because I don't say nothing about it because I remember doing that class story and it's so good. And there's so many like
twists and turns.
Yes. It's so good. And I remember in the beginning when you first got to Droman Kos, when you met asshole Darth Barris, and he had a guy strapped to the table.
Yeah. Like some rebel guy he caught.
Yeah. And he was like, shocking him, and they're like, "Oh, what do you want to do?" I was like, "Yo, just talk to him, bro." And he's like, "That's not what a Sith does." I was like, "Fuck you!" So I talked to the guy, light side all the way.
Yeah, that was your path.
Yeah, and I talked to him. The guy gave it up. He was like, "Oh, sure, man. Here you go. Thank you." And then
that's cool.
Bears killed him, but
yeah,
I didn't kill him.
Yeah,
light side is the right side. Anyway,
so I just went full bad to the bone.
Yeah,
I'll do light side to the right side.
You're evil. Wait until you and Bishop are going to get along great.
Sure.
The other thing that you might want to consider is also leveling up a Jedi Knight.
Yeah, that was my
because
because
what happens is because the Jedi Guardian and the Sith Juggernaut fill the same class, you can share gear between them.
Oh.
Yeah, so when we do something on the Republic side, or if Dent can't find somebody to fill in for his ops team, you could fill in for him, and they could do some easy stuff to get you gear.
And I can just swap my gear over from my.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That's
So
a great idea.
your core gear can if you put it in what they call legacy gear.
I gotta show him how to do that.
Put it into your legacy bank and swapped.
But that basically, he just invited you to his Monday night ops team for Ezenol, right? Yeah. That was like the underhand pitch. When you play slow pitch softball and you see the ball come, you're like, I'm gonna kill it. Here it comes. Here it comes. That's the underhand pitch.
That was awesome. Great. But I just have to I'd have to get a Republic character up to 70 or whatever.
So can I talk? I got a lot to talk about.
Oh, sorry. I finally have some SWTOR stuff to talk about.
I know. And I'm really excited.
It's easy to just, now I see why I was making fun of you for talking on and on and on about SWTOR before. It's easy to do. So without further ado.
No. Now it popped another question for me. What do you like about the game? And what's the one thing you don't like about the game so far?
Well, I love the story. That's the best part. And just the fact, using something with lightsabers is awesome. The character animations are wicked cool. All the different moves are awesome. It's sort of kind of turn-based, sort of not. How you're move from one enemy, do your DPS, you go through your rotation, and then you go to the next and sort of do your rotation. That's all cool. I like that mechanic. The only thing that I find a touch annoying is how long you have to walk in between stuff. But when I'm doing the story missions, but I get that too because that's part of the game mechanic of leveling up is you're supposed to be fighting enemies that you aggro on the way. And even if you're accidentally aggroing, getting them to come and attack you, that's part of the challenge is to try and, get to your objective with all the sort of the trash enemies on the way. That's the only thing that's a bit annoying just because I'm level 70 and running through everything. But normally I would be more immersed in enjoying that. So I guess the only negative is how far you have to walk, but I have a speeder thanks to Dent, so it's not bad at all.
Yeah, just trying to gear you up.
Yeah,
no,
it's awesome.
Absolutely. And that's what we do. And you have a ton of credits.
I have 1 million credits, thanks. How did I forget those two parts? Yeah, so I was doing my class story. This was before I even did the op. And Dent pops on, was like, hey, I'm just going to follow you around and hang out, and we can talk on Discord while you're doing some story class stuff and just going to kill things. I'm like, okay, I don't know, I'm level 15 or something. And he's like, here, have a speeder. I'm like, whoa, I don't have to just run around anymore? He's like, no, just click the button and you can go double the speed. I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. And then he's like, here, have a lightsaber crystal. I'm like, oh my God, I just got a lightsaber an hour ago. And now I can actually make it something cool colored. That was awesome too. Made my entire night. And then an hour later, Marcus logs on. He's like, here, have 1 million credits. You never have to worry about money in this story class again. It was like Christmas Day. It was just awesome. A lot of love from these two. It's really appreciated.
It's what you have to do.
But anyways, you had something to talk about?
So Sunday this past week was my first day off in 28 days.
Wow.
And I could have said a month, and I wrote that in the notes, but 28 days.
Well, it's finished.
So the equivalent of month of February.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. That's a great way to put it.
Perfect.
It was nice just to relax with the family. Something really epic came out. So we found out we were having a kid a few months ago, and it's going to be a boy.
Woo!
Yeah.
Which is awesome because Mark's first child's a girl. So now you get 1-on-1.
1-on-1.
Experience both worlds.
Coming this October. So a Star Wars room near you. The baby will have a Death Star. What are those things called above the crib?
Fathead?
Oh, shit. What is it called?
A mobile.
Yeah, the mobile. It's going to be the Death Star with TIE
fighters hanging
TIE
off?
fighters and I really want to find the blown up Alderaan. See if I can find the planet blown up and have that around the Alderaan. Because around the Death Star, because that's what happened.
So what better thing to do is have genocide above your baby's crib?
Yes, needs to learn right now that being bad is not good.
Yeah,
see what I'm saying? And teach it the light side. This is what you don't want to do. The Death Star is bad, and you've seen it since you were a kid, so now you know it's bad.
Or she could grow up and cherish the dark side.
That's not going to happen.
Peace is a lie.
Peace is not a lie, dude.
I was trying to memorize that whole thing.
Well, you said it the other day. So in game, this week on Death Star Troopers, I had this grand plan to go to Ziost and try out the monoliths. Well, we got the World Breaker down, but we went to the Colossal Monolith, and let me tell you, everybody, that boss is a bitch. So before the fight even starts, there's like 30 purple craters in the ground. So right in the map, you can't even stand in those purple craters to start. That's just step one. Then when the fight starts, I've never seen so many circles pop down on the ground ever.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on the floor.
Yeah, I thought Isaac's was the hardest fight I have ever done, or the Underlurker.
No,
Fuck that. This fight is no joke. Like, that's my new passion. Like, we're gonna do whatever it takes to get that boss down because it was insane. We must have tried it 15 times, and then finally, I was just like, "Hey," I think Dent after like 7 was like, "I don't know," like
I don't think it was me.
No,
but I do like it. I think it was just kind of like the group mentality is like, all right, we're kind of consistent on where we're dying at the percentages. We're not really making any more headway,
right?
So we just pretty much
call it quits and
let's go do Scum and Villainy. That's a short one.
Oh yeah, so. We finished, so we left that, and my plan was the next stop we were going to do was Scum and Villainy, but all the ops have 5 bosses. Well, BioWare decided to throw 7 in this one op.
Jesus.
Well, let me tell you something. So we go there, and I'm thinking, we'll get the first 3 bosses down, and it'll be time to go to bed because it's Sunday. Let me tell you, not with Dent around. Okay, so Dent was main tanking because
Peters was having problems with his account.
Yeah, Albus had problems the week before, and Peters had some problems with his computer. So Dent main tanked. He was just running through trash, aggroing, and just starting the fights. And, not even talking to anybody. And here I am just lollygagging, like enjoying our time.
Classic Marauder fashion.
Yeah, just like, we'll get through it. And Dent was like, nope. And then Dr. Sotor was like, fuck that, we're going. No, and then we had it all that was covering, that filled the role for Dent. The
DPS role?
Yeah, the DPS role. And he was like, we're beating this up. And they were running. Like, I was like in the back, like, remember, ever think of those like little kids, wait for me,
like running
down the street, running out to the bus. That was me.
Well, the good thing about that was Marcus wasn't aggroing everything, so
it didn't work out. But I was like the little kid in the back, wait for me, and they're just running, and they're like, we're finishing it. And
hey, we did our ready checks to start the boss fights, and then once we were done, we just kept on going.
I think there was one time I didn't ready check. Yes, I was ready to go, and they still went because they knew I was ready. It was just like I couldn't even
you're just all flustered.
And like
be ready when we start.
So I'm the fat kid, right? And my friends are like, "Oh, let's go for a jog in the trails." Sure. And I've been working out a little bit, okay? And I'm trying to lose some weight, and I'm running, and like they're ahead, and you catch up to them, and you're like. And they're like, all right, see you later. And I'm just like, and it was so funny because those 3 were so motivated to finish it. And we usually finish at 10:45. I think we finished at like 11:05.
Yeah, we were just over 11.
Just over 11 o'clock. And like sweat was pouring down my head like I ran a marathon and I was just sitting in front of the computer. It was so funny. Oh, my God.
It's funny you say I felt exhausted.
And then I messaged Marcus the next day. I'm like, hey, I'm sorry if we kind of like bulldogged that one on you.
But that's all right because, but now this Sunday I got to think of something else to do because that would have been like the perfect thing. But I think it's a milestone to be able to beat it in an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, because that one's that final boss is no joke. That one can be tough if you're not coordinated.
Oh. then we must have been pros. We must have been MLG.
We kept you guys in line.
Yeah, you did. We did. My head was spinning. Oh man. So go ahead.
I was gonna say my head was spinning, and I think we only did 2 bosses.
Well, that's it's because you jumped in late,
right?
And I jumped in late,
right? I did not know what was going on. Max explained it quick, and I didn't even know what an op was.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm just like trying. I had the new rotation. I was like, okay, just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I was like, just trying to target the boss.
Exactly. But so then Mondays have become fun feeling Mondays, and it's actually starting to take off. I help Brian from the Bad Feeling podcast on Mondays from 9 to 11 Eastern time. They're on the Starforge server as well because that's where all my tunes are. You do not need to be in the guild to join. And so this week we had 8 people. So we did the group finder and we took a stroll over to Karaga's Palace. And we finished that. And then we went and killed the Golden Poodle, which is called Taboro's Courtyard. It's like a lair boss.
Golden Fury. Yeah. Golden Fury.
Golden Fury, I call it the Golden Poodle, or you can call it the Golden Chicken. But anyway, it's like a layer boss. So like when they released the Planet McCab, they released one ops boss, and it's like a layer boss. So you just go in there and kill this one boss. And that's something else I really want to try because everybody says that's like the hardest hard mode boss there is.
Harder than Isaac's?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Well, this was really hard.
There's just a couple of mechanics that you don't usually do in story mode, like the blowing up the canisters to get the protection for the tank. I think the ads are a little bit tougher.
Yeah. Either way, it's an awesome one boss fight, and it gives you a ton of command points if you do it, and that's usually the go-to for most of the teams. If you finish early enough and the team is motivated, you go and do that. As Dent said on last night, we went back to the Gods from the Machine. Man, I don't know. Like, I love the Tithe fight. I absolutely love the Tithe fight. I just think I'm tired of that op. I really am tired of that op.
Well, it's because, especially like with Tithe, that one's been out. He's been out the longest. We did that the most, and you're right. It's like that whole ops, because we were so focused on it for such a long time, gets tiresome a little bit.
Oh, Tithe is my favorite fight. I mean, out of all of the fights in that op, that's my favorite. I love that fight, and I think I'm just tired of it. And but it was good to go back on the other side of it because we went in there and I'm thinking we'll just blow through it, and we wiped on Tithe because we weren't doing some of the stuff correct, and it was fun to go back, but I'm definitely tired of that op.
So we're doing it Sunday?
No. I think, believe it or not, I may have some stuff up my sleeve. Anyway, so let's see. In SOTOR news, the nightlife event is still going on. Basically, you can go to Nar Shaddaa and do some gambling. I went to Nar Shaddaa, bought $1 million worth of credit chips, and I haven't gambled once. So I don't know why. I just been busy. They've released a bunch of changes coming to PvP. It sounds awesome. But I don't really PvP. Do you, Dent?
Once in a while. I'm not. I'll if I really want to punish myself, I'll go into PvP.
Right. So the PvP people seem really happy with the PvP changes.
Yeah.
But I don't really do it. Like, I'll do it if, a group of people are like, hey, we're going to do it. You want to be our fourth? Sure, I'll go and I'll screw it up for you.
Right. It's not my favorite part of the game, but it's for some people, it's the only part of the game that they play. So,
right. So, also too, if you want to know more about the PvP changes, you can listen to the Bad Feeling podcast because that's all they really talk about. Because Chuck loves his PvP-ness, And then, or you can go to sotor.com and read up on all of the changes coming. On a sad note, on Tuesday, we said goodbye to I don't know, I want to say Star Wars The Old Republic influencer, Sam from Sotor Central. He's from the UK, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been around forever, and he made some awesome videos. There's a bunch of, ops guides that I've watched. He has an awesome Dread Fortress one, which is, I think that's my favorite op. And, he quit because he said he had to get some good family time going with his wife and his kids. So I wish him the best luck. Real life is awesome, and it's more important than any game you play.
Of course. But,
see you later, dude.
Set seam go still,
Yeah. So, but big news, announcement on June 22nd, Friday night, 9 to 11 p.m. Join me, Marcus B, for Mega Monthly. That's with the AIE Guild. We're going to start doing this monthly event where we're going to do fun things that's not operations. So the first event, we're going to do the most epic, mega, fantastic world boss hunt ever. And for all of you haters out there who say the ops bosses the world bosses aren't going to pop, stop being negative Nancy's and be positive, because they will be there.
But they don't populate sometimes.
So they populate, but some, like, let's say your team goes in there and kills them, they may be on a timer to
like
pop back.
2-hour timer or something like that.
So you can't so they don't die, and then you just do it again and do it again and do it again. It kind of
they're not like normal mobs, or they're not instanced. So you just have to, if you go there and you see them, you're in luck. You get everyone. You do a group summons and jump in and do the fight. If you see their corpse on the floor, it's time to move on.
Right,
because you don't want to sit there and wait 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start hosting this monthly event because I feel like we should do more in game. I feel like all I do is ops. I'm helping Brian from the Bad Feeling, and then I want to help AIE at the same time, and just do something once a month to get guys like you, Nick, involved in the game. And there's no level cap. You can come as a level 20 and kill world bosses.
Yeah.
So when you're doing ops, you got to be level 50. I mean, if you're level 24, you'll probably die a lot, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because you'll still get the experience and you'll still level up.
Right.
So anybody in AIE, please message me if you want to help me plant your alternate tunes at some world bosses to help me make this experience wonderful. You can message me on Discord or message me on Twitter. And if all this sounds epic, and trust me, it must, because we got Nick to play the game.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Not an easy sell.
No, because I've been working on this for 2 goddamn years, and he's playing it now, and he likes it. So this must sound epic. You can go to aie-guild.org and get our Discord information. And then once you're in the Discord, you can get an officer to invite you into the game. Or you can find me on Twitter at MarcusB814. Throw me a message, and I can get an officer, hopefully, to invite you into the guild.
So, without further ado, do you want to take a break?
Yes.
And we're back. God damn it. 2 for 2.
Yeah.
I even forgot this time. I remembered at the beginning of the podcast, like, oh, he's going to do the saber throw thing again. And then totally forgot this time.
So what are we going to talk about?
Usually when I start my fights, it's, all right, 3, 2, 1, jump.
Oh, yeah. That's the 8 button for me. Anyways, we're back, and let's get right into the solo discussion.
All right, I want one answer, boys.
One word, you mean?
One word.
Yep.
Did you like it? Nick?
It was fine. Those are 3. That's 3 words.
Yeah, one fucking word.
Fine.
All right. Dent.
Smiles.
All right. Me? Fun.
Fun's a good one.
Yes.
I could say fun. I could also say fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Every time I've seen it, like each time the smile gets bigger because I'm like I get out of it and I'm like it's a good feeling. It's a lot of fun. It's just a good old high note.
Yeah. So, how many times have you seen it?
4.
4?
Nick, how many times have you seen it?
I've only seen it once, but I saw it was recently.
Yeah, I saw it opening night.
Right.
I saw it the night before opening night. I saw it.
The Thursday. That's
night.
when I saw it.
I saw it Wednesday.
Whoa!
And then
Big man on campus.
Talking about putting it on the table.
And then I saw it Thursday, and then I saw it that weekend, and then I saw it last week. I took a time off, and I was doing some family stuff, and then on the way home, like I was by myself. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go to movies. I'm gonna see Solo again.
Perfect.
Wow. All right.
That's sweet.
So
as avid Star Wars fans, do you guys think the sort of fan service moments were a little too much, maybe too cheesy or not cheesy, or not how you'd expected they'd go?
When you mean fan services, do you mean Easter eggs?
No,
sort of like. Or go ahead, Dent.
I like. It's a lot of the fan service stuff is more of the, I have a bad feeling about this.
I have a great feeling about this.
Instead of like turning it on its head like that, and a lot of like those quotes and stuff that that is like repeated a lot within the universe. So those are more of the fan service stuff. The gratuitous shots of the Falcon when Han first sees it, the shot of the Han's dice hanging on the window.
400 shots of the dice. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. All that stuff. That's all the fan service stuff.
Yeah.
As for cheese, Star Wars always has had a big old slice of American cheese in it.
That's a very fair point. There is a lot of cheese throughout, and that was one of my criticisms to my notes later, and I might rescind that. There was some cheesy stuff. But what do you mean?
There's some charm to the cheese.
There is charm to the cheese.
Well, of course, it's. I don't want to say there's always been cheese in it, but like.
No, if you go back and you kind of watch it with a more critical eye, like A New Hope, there's a lot of there's some cheese in there.
I always kind of attributed the cheesiness in every time we say the word cheese, take a shot. I always attributed the cheese in A New Hope to it being 1979. But then the trend does kind of continue.
It's 1977.
Sorry, 77. Wow.
What the fuck?
And I should get.
It's okay.
No, it's not, Ted. It's not
all
okay.
right.
Well, I knew that.
We knew what his point was.
No, I didn't. I did not.
But
I thought he was getting ready for Empire.
I think there were a lot of especially in the first sort of act-ish of the movie of like, how did Han get his blaster? Here you go. Here's his blaster. How did Han get the dice? How did Han?
That's the part of the movie I didn't like.
Let's get right into that first part. Like the first part of the movie, like it seems to be a trend with a lot of the Star Wars story anthology movies is that first act is a slog.
Yeah, that was not. I did not enjoy that.
The worst offense in that first act was how he got his name.
I agree completely. I think that's my first bullet point.
Yeah, that is my first bullet point as well. It's like some random recruitment officer.
I think it's fucking great.
Navy is just like,
so low. Come on.
What do you mean? That's great.
I didn't like it.
That's great. Well, that's it. See.
I didn't like it. I don't know. It is the way that part was portrayed. I just didn't like it.
And I enjoyed it because I felt like, okay, you don't have a last name. I got to come up with something quick. You're Solo. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I thought it fit the part.
But how many other Solos are there in the Imperial Navy then? Because I can have to assume that there are a ton of scumrats from Corellia that have no
family
name or tribe name or however they want to portray it.
Right.
So how many of them are also Solo?
I bet a bunch of them, but they didn't need to get into it because they gave the one Solo the greatest name ever.
I would have liked it better if he had Han Solo is his assumed name, his alias, where he actually had a different name.
Yeah.
Or something more along those lines.
Yeah, I would have liked it if they'd given some backstory and said, okay, everyone doesn't have a family gets the last name of Solo, kind of like everyone in Game of Thrones. Everyone who's born in the North as a bastard, out of wedlock is Snow, and then in different regions you get a different last name. If they gave a little bit of backstory, I'd be like, okay, I'd buy into it more. But it's just such a perfect coincidence that it becomes a little too cheesy for my taste.
Yeah.
Like this one guy happens to think of Solo on the spot just for Han, is kind of cheesy in my book. Or if he had said something else, like, I don't know, Solowski or something, and he's just like, oh, Solo, like a real Ellis Allen type of deal.
Yeah, exactly. Like Ellis Island, you go through, oh, no, you're Smith.
Yeah. Yeah, you're Smithburg. I'm like, Smith, I'm lazy, whatever, done. Like that I would have bought too. But while we're still in the first act, I did like that worm character. I thought that was pretty cool. Kind of gave you like
the core slug?
Yes, the core slug. Sorry, I don't know the in-canon name of the creature.
No, that whole like setup, how they're just like kind of like little pickpockets and
prostitutes.
Yeah, or whatever. It's a that underworld vibe to it was really cool.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And then it kind of gave you a reason why they're in the sewers, not just like they're poor, they have to live down here.
No, they don't like light. Yeah,
they clearly don't like light.
They get a sunburn in 30 seconds.
Yeah, or 5 seconds in the movie. The skin was like boiling, like a lobster.
Lobster.
I love lobster. So, moving forward, were there any characters?
Wait,
what?
I'm terrible at these movies because it like takes me a minute to think about it.
Okay.
Can we talk about how fucking stupid the last chase of the opening act was, where he's like, "We can make it down that thing," and then like the car's on the side, and then like dies.
No,
I'm just like, well, this fucking.
I like that setup for the future in Kessel, like the Kessel Run, doing the same maneuver with the Falcon.
More cheese.
It was nice.
That was pretty cheesy.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And then she's like, "Don't forget your dice."
Yeah. The dice I thought were pretty cheesy. The motif of the dice was
his good luck charm.
If somebody's taking shots while we say cheese, they're fucked right now.
Working class nerds are not responsible for any and all alcohol poisoning that may be a result of the cheese drinking game.
Oh, should we like throw out? We're gonna like spoil this movie, so.
Oh yeah, I'll go back and yeah,
we'll add that in.
We'll add the spoiler warning in the beginning.
Yeah, because
Well,
some people can take great offense at being spoiled that stuff.
Yeah,
I do not, but other people do.
Yeah.
Well, if you haven't seen a movie, you don't want to be spoiled. Just like, okay, it took me so long to finish the Knights of the Eternal and then Fallen Empire story.
Yeah.
There were so many podcasts that they were like spoilers, and I would just skip it because I wanted to finish the story, and it took so long, and I don't want to ruin it.
Yeah, so, I'm the same way.
But and then he goes to the glass door, and he's like, "Yo, lady, Imperial lady.
Oh yeah,
I have a kyber crystal."
No,
or whatever.
It's hyperfuel.
Hyperfuel. I have hyperfuel.
Come on, you know better than that.
Whatever.
That's like a me mistake. That's something I would say.
That's kyber crystal is what's used in lightsabers.
Yes, Marcus. I know what a kyber crystal is.
It's also used in Death Stars.
Yeah,
well, it's why?
Less, Marcus.
Well,
okay.
You know why? Because Rogue One was way better than Solo.
I would disagree.
But we're gonna.
All right, we'll revisit that.
Yes, but all I'm trying to say is, he gives that lady the hyperfuel, and she was like, okay. And then she was like, fuck you. And then that girl, I don't remember her name,
Kira?
whatever.
Which is spelled QI''RA for the record when I looked it up before the podcast.
The name was originally going to be what they had used for the character Rey in The Force Awakens.
So it's going to be Rey?
Instead of who we know as Rey, that character was going to be named Kira.
Oh, interesting. So they use that spelling for this character now in Solo.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Anyway, so she just stays back and he gets away. And
she doesn't just stay back. She was grabbed by the gang.
Right. By the Empire guards.
Yeah, and then
it wasn't the Empire guards. It was.
You're right.
It was the gang members grabbed her.
So,
Yep.
So then to the next part, and this is probably my favorite part of the whole movie.
Yep.
Is they go to that planet and he's like, I want to join the Imperial Navy. And that's when he gets his name, which you guys don't like.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the planet. And this is what I really like.
Oh, when it jumps 3 years later and he's a foot soldier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I want to fly. In the next scene, he's flying in the air.
Yeah, exactly. And what I really liked about it is finally we got to see the dark side of the Empire, because you always see the clean-cut stormtroopers. You always see like
the officers.
The clean. And then all of a sudden you see the real grunts. Because we always thought grunts were the stormtroopers, or I did.
I did too.
Yeah, stormtroopers, they're the ones that
they're more of an more elite than the ground force infantry.
Well, if the stormtroopers can't hit anything, imagine how bad of a shot the ground force is.
No kidding. No wonder they were getting their ass kicked.
No shit. So, but in that part I liked. I liked seeing the dark side of the Empire, where there's just people that are just the biggest scumbags of the earth. Yeah. And they're just filthy all the time, and all they do is go to war. And when they die, nobody cares.
Yeah.
See you later, dude. Empire.
Yeah.
Dark side.
That whole bit where you see him on the mud planet, it escapes my memory right now. But just the way like he is behaving, and he's like, what was it? He was questioning his superior, like, well, we're the invaders.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was cool. It's like, well, it shows you Han isn't buying into the Empire. He's just using it as a means to escape his shitty situation before.
Right.
You know, I think it says Mimban or Mimban.
Mimban, yeah, that's right.
Mimban.
So then he goes through all that, and then he meets the greatest character in the whole movie.
Woody Harrelson's character?
Yes.
Beckett?
Yes. You know, I don't care. You know, Woody Harrelson can smoke an ounce of reefer a day and he's the man.
I like Woody Harrelson.
There's not many movies he's the man in. I mean, he's the man in every movie.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry. Like, what was the zombie movie he was in?
Oh, Zombieland?
Yes, that movie was great. He was the man, all for a Twinkie.
Yeah.
And then in this movie, he was just like,
that one last score.
Yes, that one last score, and like, I'm the fucking man, and don't trust anybody.
Yeah,
and
including me. I don't give a fuck about anybody else.
Right, exactly. And his character was great, and how they left him. See, I'm screwing up your path.
Oh, I don't care at all.
Once you open up these doors and like my mind starts thinking about it,
let it rip. Just roll with the snowball.
And then Solo's like, "Oh, I want to go with you," and he's like, "Fuck you!" And then they're taking off, and
he shows up with a Wookiee.
Yeah, and they're like, "Well, he does have a Wookiee."
Well, let's back up on that one a little bit.
The Wookiee part.
Yeah. So the meeting of Chewbacca, I like that. I thought it was fantastic. I loved that. In order to like kind of diffuse the situation, Han's speaking Sheruk to Chewbacca. And
that's the Wookiee language?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's speaking that was so poorly.
Like, and he just stops for a second and then does that cock of his head. And
like the dog head, want a cookie? And
they're like, what?
Right. That's like a classic like Chewbacca.
Yeah. That was great. I like that. At first, I was like, "Oh, this is." When I saw his feet, I was like, "Oh, "Is this going to be how he meets Chewbacca?" And then, as the scene progressed, I was like, "You know what? I like this a lot." I thought it was just enough cheese and how he was speaking
Right. It was enough. Like, I got a giggle out of it, and it's like, you know what? I like this. This is fun.
Yeah.
Except Chewie slammed Han into the pole, and his back bent around it like a pretzel. And Han gets up, and he's like, "I'm good." Like, if that was me, my back would have been snapped in half. Like, thanks, bro.
Suspension of disbelief.
Well, I know
you're not Han Solo. Okay, you can't take a punch like he can.
Well, it's like Han Galamalaco until they named him Han Solo.
Well, he doesn't have a last name before Solo.
Oh,
yeah. Well, but I liked that a lot. What I didn't like about the Han Chewie thing was in the EU. Now, I admittedly didn't read anything, but I looked a bunch of stuff up after I watched the movie. In the EU, doesn't Chewie have a Wookiee life debt to Han, and that's why he stays with him forever? I thought I guess breaking him out of prison can kind of sort of be like saving his life, but I thought that was a bit of a missed opportunity there to go into the Wookiee life debt thing and why he sticks with them for so long.
Yeah, I know originally before they decanonized a lot of that stuff, even way back in the when the original movies came out, and a lot of the articles and everything that in the interviews, they said that Chewbacca had that life debt because Han rescued him from the Empire,
right.
And they've depicted that in different ways in the past, but they've kind of kept the spirit of that rescue,
right,
in this. So,
right,
I'm okay with it.
I think it was sort of like, yeah.
It was just that was one of my favorite things about this movie was that Han and Chewie relationship and just their interactions with each other. It was such a joy.
I liked it a lot. I like the relationship a lot. My only little gripe is I wish they explained why Chewie's choosing Han just a touch better. Maybe just throw the life debt thing in there, just a little bit. But now that I'm thinking about it, at the same time, the way they portrayed it is Chewie liked Han, had a good bond friendship wise with Han, so much that he stayed with him to go on further adventures, which is almost a little bit more organic than Chewie having to stay with him because of the debt.
I also think they didn't go down the life debt route because it's not really PC. And in this PC world, people would get upset about that.
That's true. Yeah, I could see that.
Which, is kind of, it's unfortunate a lot of times, but it is what it is. I liked how they portrayed that. Even those, like, throughout the movie, like, Chewie's always, like, touching Han on the shoulder and whatnot. And a lot of times that pays off a little bit in a comedic way.
Yes.
But it also pays off, like, in that emotional way where it's like, I'm still here for you, buddy.
Yeah. That was cool. I really like the Han Chewie relationship. The only thing, that only gripe, which I think I just resolved on myself. So I liked it all, 100%. Loved it. Speaking of going back to a little bit of fan service things with Chewie, I love how he ripped the guy's arms off in the elevator.
Yeah, because that's always alluded to. There was actually a scene written for The Force Awakens where Chewie does that, and
they didn't include it.
They didn't include it, but I think they filmed part of it.
Okay,
I think it's a deleted scene on the
director's cut or something.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So another part is they get off the planet and then they go and they're like, oh, we're gonna go do this heist.
Yeah,
and the dude who gets, I forget his name, the pilot.
Yeah,
and he's like,
arms.
Rio.
Yeah, and he's like, fuck you, you're not a pilot. And he's like, yes, I am. Yeah. And then, the guy's like dying and Han takes over. The one thing I can say about all the new Star Wars movies, I love all the new troopers. Because in every movie we get a new kind of trooper. The Scarif.
They have to sell action figures,
Well, I know that, but the new, like the Scarif, like the shore troopers,
yeah,
those are unreal.
Those are cool. Yep.
Yeah, and then the train troopers where they have like the gravity boots.
Those are cool.
Yeah, dude, like that's awesome.
Yeah,
that part is so great.
Yeah, and the train like is rotating around the mountain to go faster, and they have to like gravity boot across like the different planes. That was cool.
And then my favorite part of the whole movies, like I shouldn't say the favorite part because I already said that, but like the favorite word in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Is the bandits were marauders. It's the greatest thing ever. I was like, whoa. They're going to have 2 lightsabers? And then I'm like, oh, there's no lightsabers.
It's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. But it is the same.
This is 2,000, 4,000 years later or whatever.
Yeah, but it comes to find out they were light side.
They were light side.
Yeah, it's the right side.
Yeah, a little bit of misdirection.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little of both.
So
that
little reveal, I had mixed feelings about it. I was like fine with it, but I was like, it's kind of cheese.
Yeah. Oh, what? See,
like, it was more of blue cheese than American cheese.
That's fair. It was white American cheese instead of the orangey, like really
cheese.
chemically
government cheese.
Yeah.
Well, the whole pirate thing in the beginning when they were on the train, I was like, whoa, this is real. This is real. Like people are really like, they're finding out that they're going after this supply. I would go after it too.
Yeah, the coaxium. I looked it up.
All right, the coaxium.
Yeah.
If I got refined coaxium or I knew you and Dent were going to get it, you better know that I'm grabbing some other people together and we're going to try to take that shit from you.
Sure.
Because if you don't get it, I'm not getting it. That's fine. But if I can steal it from you and you did the work, thank you.
Sure. Absolutely.
But I also liked the girlfriend of Beckett or wife, whatever she was.
What was her name?
Val.
Thank you.
Yeah. And
tell who saw this 4 times and who saw it once.
Okay, but I like that part because, it just goes to show like, hey, it's been a great ride. Like no matter how much you love each other, the job comes first.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
You know what I mean? And she was like,
well, that bit of self-sacrifice was, I liked it.
It was a brief moment, but it was still pretty impactful, which is meaningful. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's kind of hard to do in such a short span.
They're like outlaws and everything, but they some of them still run with a code of sorts.
Yeah, it was cool. I like that whole crew, frankly.
Yeah, that crew, it was fun. Like that whole bank. You're right. The whole bank the train heist thing was it was a blast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though it went south.
So when do we meet the bad guy?
Oh,
the Han's love of his life quotation marks boss
Dryden Voss.
Dryden Voss. Yeah, that's
right after that, right?
Right after that.
They have to go report to him that the coaxium blew up and they couldn't get it.
Right.
Which I thought the lines on his face were pretty cool. How they like got thicker and darker when he got mad and his eyes got all red.
Yeah, that how his emotions like emulated how he looked.
That was a cool little just a Star Wars-y spin on things. You know what I mean? Just subtle.
Well, the original actor that was going to play the role of the crime boss, I forget his name. He was on The Wire, but originally that character was going to be all like kind of CGI'd.
Okay, yeah.
But I kind of like that they didn't go that route and they went with just makeup to supplement the Paul Bettany's look. Yeah.
Was it on The Wire? Was it
that might be
Dominic West?
No.
That one might have been. That would have been. That's probably one of the greatest TV series ever to come out. The Wire. I love that series. But anyways, so
Michael K. Williams.
Oh, sorry. Got it.
So how do I say it? So you get when they go there and they get on that awesome ass ship and they go to the top floor and it's like a party and you finally see like the Richie Riches of the Empire.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really the Richie Riches of the Empire. It's more of the Richie Riches of the criminal underworld. They just
Okay, yeah.
they just have some imperial officers there to show the corruption of the empire.
Well, of course, but the nice part is you saw the other side of it. So you saw the bottom barrel of Corellia, and then you see these people just living the dream on this ship.
Yeah.
And, you know, drinking, eating, and you see the danger side of it. But I liked the ship and how, you know, Han walks in there and he's like, whatever. And they're like, don't talk to anybody. And
Don't talk to me. Don't look at anybody. Just keep your eyes down.
Yeah.
It was comical to see, like, Han, like, obnoxiously keeping his eyes down, trying to figure out what to do.
He's like, fine, I'm going to look down. I'm going to go to that window and look out there. Chewie, get your hands up. Oh, wait, that's not Chewie.
Right. No, absolutely. I thought, you know, I think Alden, he did a nice job as Solo.
Yeah.
And I think as the movie went on, and maybe that's the way Disney intended it, I thought in the beginning I was just like, oh, fuck this guy. And as he grew into the character, I think when he hit that ship, that's where he really became Han to me. Yeah. And I was like, wow, I can see it.
Yeah. And you know what? I enjoyed his portrayal of Han. He didn't do an impersonation of Harrison Ford doing Han Solo. He did. Mm-hmm. He made it his own. Yeah. Where on the flip side, I feel like Donald Glover did an impersonation of Billy D. Williams doing Lando.
Well, I think he had to.
You
don't. Like, we just went to like Alden. He didn't do an impersonation. He made Han himself. I mean, yeah, he did have, you know, a couple of those iconic shots, like that blaster shot and
backing into the Falcon,
yeah, and stuff like that. But I think he kind of made the role his own. Where I think Donald Glover just he did an impersonation, and I kind of felt that it was a little lacking.
I'll defend Donald Glover a little bit on that, just because he didn't have as much material to work with. You know, Alden. Sorry, I'm terrible with names. Alden had, you know, the whole movie to grow into Solo.
No, that's a fair point. Yeah,
but I think Donald Glover really only had a few scenes to be Lando, and in those scenes, a lot of the writing called for him to be, you know, like the Lando of the original trilogy. Like,
he made the movie.
Yeah, calling Han Han. I thought that was a nice little callback.
Well, that's in that instance, he calls him Han, because he's trying to throw him off when they're playing cards. It was more of a strategy,
right?
The same way when they start the game with Sabak, he goes, "Is this Sabak?" or something like that. Yeah, and Lando corrects him. So it's more of those. It was more of a strategy,
mind games.
Else. Yeah,
I didn't catch up. I didn't pick up on that. That's a great.
Because you only saw it once,
right?
But I will say, Lando's whole part was great. I think Lando coming into the movie, and he had the Millennium Falcon, and the whole aura around Lando was great.
Yeah.
I think his droid sucked.
Oh, I'll agree with you on that one.
Like she was like, I'm sorry, she was like shaking that robot ass. Like she was like,
I was mildly annoyed with it, and a lot of it I didn't really find funny.
Yeah, I don't know if they're shooting for humor with L3 or what, but it didn't come off as funny for me. Although, you know, I did laugh at some of and Ariel did too, next to me, when she was initially freeing the other droids. She's like, I don't know, go free your friends or something. I don't care. Get out of my way. And I thought that some of that part was funny, but as it went on, it was like, okay, now this is a serious piece. And then she ends up dying and stuff. And that was like serious. And then that, you know, Lando's sad that she's dying. And then Chewie goes over and picks her up, and it was kind of funny. It was like serious and then funny back to back. And it didn't quite work right. I didn't know how to feel there. So a lot of it was like serious, but also comical at the same time. It didn't quite work for most of it, I would say. You know,
I think it worked.
You liked it for the most part. I like her personality. I just thought some of the moments were like too. I don't know. It didn't quite come off.
For me, it just felt way over the top.
Well, it was over the top. Like the parts where like when she was in the control room.
Yeah.
Like that was great.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. That part was great. But then, in the ship, she's like, Lando is in love with me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not really into it, and I don't think it would work. Like, no kidding.
You're a droid.
It just works.
Yeah. Right. Like it doesn't.
That didn't. That fell flat on its face.
Exactly.
That piece of humor did. Yeah.
And so talking about the control room, so they go to Kessel. So Crimson Dawn.
I want to just back up a little bit back to Dryden Voss and his little like lair a second.
Sure.
There were a couple of like neat Easter eggs in that room where they have a lot of the monologuing there.
Yeah. Okay.
So there were 3 Easter eggs that if you're an Indiana Jones fan, you'll notice. And they have from the 3 movies an artifact from each one of the 3 movies.
Oh, okay.
They had the fertility idol from Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's the idol in the beginning of the movie that
he replaces
Indiana
with
Jones.
Bag.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So then there's the Sankara stones from Temple of Doom. Those are the stones that he tries to take from the Thuggees back to that village.
Yep.
And then there's the Holy Grail from Last Crusade.
And then there's the Temple of Boomba. Sorry, I had to. I hear the word boom and I think Boomba.
Oh, it's Doom with a D.
Doom, Temple of Doom.
Well, I know that, but
Marcus.
I'm thinking Boomba.
This is why we can't have nice things.
With a D.
I know.
D is a dog.
Dag.
I like dogs.
I like dogs. Sure, I like dogs. So
I did not notice the Easter eggs.
No, you only saw it once, so I won't hold it again.
I just when it comes out, so this is no joke. I've seen The Last Jedi once.
Yeah, me too.
And I came home.
Yeah, once.
And I have it on Blu-ray. I came down in the basement and I reclined the couch and I started to watch it and I shut it off. Halfway through, I was just like, I'll just go to bed. But I didn't go to bed. I played Star Wars: The Old Republic. But I was...
That's beside the point. You turned it off.
I turned it off. And I'm curious to see what happens when Solo comes out if I'm going to turn it off.
Yeah, the rewatch.
So,
yeah.
It's because the tone of The Last Jedi is depressing.
Yeah, it is pretty depressing. It's a like Luke is not a Jedi and he doesn't want to be a Jedi. It's like, wah, wah, wah.
I didn't like the direction. I liked parts of it, but there are some parts that like I can skip over the whole Casino Planet bit and I'd be fine.
Oh yeah, I think we talked about that when we did the movie review. I hated the whole casino section of that movie.
That's episode 0, but we called it episode 1.
Oh yeah,
it should be called episode 1. The sound is terrible.
It's like the beta test for working class nerds.
Yeah, exactly. And so all these people have listened to it and they've never listened to the show again because they're like, these guys are terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, so going on to the lair. So they agree.
They go to Kessel, right?
Right. So they accept the mission.
Yeah.
And Han is typical.
They get the Falcon, which to get the Falcon they play the card game of Sabacc, or Sabacc, or whatever you want to call it, the fictional card game in the Star Wars universe,
right?
And it looks like Han's going to win the game, but then you see Lando has something up his sleeve and he cheats. So
literally has something up his sleeve.
Yeah. Right. So he cheats and wins, and it's like. And as they're walking out, like Han's like he couldn't win. That card had already been played. Blah blah blah. So then he starts arguing. He's like, "Where's my CVX 100?" Which is the same ship as the Ghost and Rebels.
Oh yeah, okay.
Kira just like steps out and he kind of poo-poos Han at that point because he now knows it's like that's Crimson Dawn. Like my debts are clear. That's all set, right?
Yeah, he's like, hey, everything's good, right?
Yeah, he's like a little nervous.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, okay, move along.
I'll do it for half. No, you'll do it for 25.
Right, exactly. And that's when Beckett steps in. So they get on the Falcon, and all of a sudden they're going to Kessel.
Yeah.
Well, before they get on the Falcon again, there's that scene where like Han's looking up at the Falcon. He's like, it's like love at first sight. It's like I love this ship. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the ship itself?
I was confused about the front of it. You know how obviously the escape pod. Yeah, because in the was it the Last Jedi? Didn't they use an escape pod and it was in a different spot?
Yes.
Yeah.
This was probably a modified escape pod / shuttle because like in the animated series Rebels, the ship Ghost has a support craft that docks with it called the Spectre. So the Ghost is roughly the same size as the Falcon. So
okay.
I think it's more of like a support craft than an escape pod.
Okay, I can buy that.
I think it's pretty cheese dick.
Yeah.
The Falcon is the Falcon. Why are you changing something that's perfect?
No, I think it worked good because it showed like Lando and how he lived in his lifestyle and how he like makes it look like a little gaudy. Like the white is a little too white. The closet is full of capes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was all right with it because it's not the Falcon that we know yet. But by the end of the movie, it pretty much is.
Right.
You ruined my ship.
I hate you. I know. Yeah. Which is a nice throwback to the I love you, you know.
The only little bit of fan service that we didn't get that I thought we were gonna is I didn't hear any never tell me the odds from Han.
Yeah,
they left that, which I don't really care about. I guess that would have just been another cheesy point.
Yeah, that just been again. It would have been another fan service thing to check off.
So I'm relatively unfamiliar with Sabat, but didn't in some sort of expanded universe plot line, didn't Han use the dice to win the Millennium Falcon originally somehow?
I don't. Sabak has always been one of those things. Originally it wasn't really described. We just know it was a game of chance, but then as the years went on, it get refined to being a card game.
Okay. I'll throw it up to it's not canon. And then my other point I was going to say. So I thought the giant space monster at the Maw was awesome.
Yeah, that was a little bit fun, and I mean, there is precedent for having creatures living in the vacuum of space. I mean, Empire Strikes Back, you had that slug in the asteroid.
In the asteroid, sure.
In Clone Wars, you had creatures flying in Nebula, and then in Rebels, you had the Purrgil. So yeah, there's precedence for that, and I was fine with it. It was a little fun. It was like a little exciting.
Yeah, my question is that monster the same type of creature that's in the Terror from Beyond op at the last boss?
Did you just bring up Star Wars: The Old Republic Operation?
Yes, I did in the middle of the solo discussion.
Wow.
Well, since the Old Republic is not canon, then probably not.
Yeah. And they were giant space tentacle monsters. So I drew a parallel.
No, and I mean some of the characters' designs I recognize some of the armor sets that they have in the game.
Oh right. Yeah.
Some of the Cloud Riders, their armor was very reminiscent of some of the armor that I've seen on Sith sorcerers and such and whatnot.
Okay. That's cool. I did not notice that.
Now, was Kessel what you guys expected?
Yeah, more or less. it's always been known as a mining planet where they mine the drug spice. I think there's also been precedent with it having like a producer of fuel as well. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but yeah, that more or less made sense.
The
way that was portrayed, and that it was being controlled by the Pikes, because that's also been established in previous canon.
I didn't have any knowledge of Kessel other than the Kessel Run,
right,
from the original trilogy and stuff. But it was fine. I liked Kessel. I liked the whole thing. I liked how the
fan service of Chewie in the cuffs.
Yep.
Yes.
Going back in the cuffs, and he's like, "No, I'm not happy about this."
Yeah.
Right.
And liked that. I liked all of Kessel. I liked how the Kessel Run, they make sure it's a distance, not a time, 12 parsecs.
Yeah, kind of explaining why it's more of a distance issue than a time issue, where they even set it up you can only do it in no more than no less than 22 parsecs, where
right.
Okay, fine, you go into the nebula and go past the maw and everything, and then you shorten the run to 12, or if you round down.
Right. I thought that was cool too. A nice little sort of insight into Han's personality, character. If you round down, it's 12.
And that whole Kessel thing actually transforms the Falcon from what is Lando's Falcon to what is Han's Falcon.
Yeah, which we know,
because it gets trashed.
Yeah, it gets complete, which makes a lot more sense, because it's like this coveted vehicle. Well, how does, and then later, Luke goes, "Oh, this thing's essentially says this thing's a piece of shit. What do you mean this is a fast ship?" And
what a piece of junk.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll make 0.5 pass light speed.
Right. So then you see it was a great ship and then got degraded. I thought that was nice too.
So they get through. So they do the Kessel Run. They get through the Terror from Beyond boss,
yep.
And so they come back to that the planet that's where they meet the Marauders, and they find out that they are people too.
Yeah,
and
they're proto-rebels,
and so the whole time, I thought Kira was going to be the one that stabbed Han in the back. The whole time.
Yeah.
Nope. It was given away really early on the Falcon, when Beckett's doing his little lessons about not trusting everyone. And when someone in a movie tells you not to trust everyone, that means that person is usually going to betray you.
Well, no, I know that, but in the beginning of the movie, I thought Kira was going to be the one to betray. So we finally get to the planet, and I'm like, okay, is it going to be Beckett? Is it going to be Kira? Is it going to be just the Marauders are just going to try to take it? Where is the twist that's coming? Because it's coming.
Yeah.
As soon as they're on there, because they go to some remote planet with billions.
Marcus is putting his pinky to the corner of his mouth.
Billions of dollars in hyperfuel to this random remote planet. Like, why doesn't that random remote planet people just be like, fuck you, what fuel?
Right. Yeah.
So it makes me think okay, something's going to happen to this, because now all of a sudden the Marauders are here.
Right. So then I thought that whole thing was really cool. How it's fake coaxium and stuff.
Well, I liked when the Marauders show up and Han tries to bluff and it fails miserably.
Oh, that was great.
It's again, that's a bit of that fan service, but I was like, all right, that's kind of funny. He's trying to bluff his way out of it, but circumstances cause it to go south quick.
Yeah, that was great. Lando just takes off.
Yeah.
When's a good time to talk about the Crimson Dawn's boss?
I love that.
I love that a lot. Wait. If we're going bit by bit through the movie, we're skipping a large chunk here. But
yeah, if you want to go there, that's just
That's the end of the
All right.
movie,
Yeah,
essentially.
it's the end of the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Sorry, I got excited. Okay,
This show is over once we say that.
all right. So, anyways, so we go back. I thought that whole sequence. Well, let me just talk about Kira real quick. Throughout the whole movie, I thought I was just confused as to her intentions. Like, I thought, okay, she's really with the Crimson Dawn now. Now she's not. No, she's still loyal to Han. No, she's Crimson Dawn. No, she's loyal to Han. I went back and forth like 6 times, and I've never had that happen so many times in a movie before.
I never had that impression. I always felt that her character has more of the tragic arc. Of everyone. She's the one that's left behind and kind of is like sacrificed so Han can get away.
Right.
She later on, even though she, as part of that old switcheroo or you actually have the fuel with the bad guy and what you sent your troops to go collect was empty and there was an ambush. Like when she fights Dryden and kills him, but she sacrifices herself to stay so again Han can get away because she knows if they both leave,
They know that they're together.
Well, that and that she'll be hunted.
Right.
And she's got that fucking tattoo on her wrist that she can't really hide from.
Right. So
she's branded.
She's she's more or less sacrificing herself so that Han can get away
again
and survive.
That's a good point. This is again 1 viewing versus 4 viewings. I thought, when I initially watched it, I was like, oh, she is aligning with the Crimson Dawn again as she's leaving, but not really. You're right. If she escaped with Han, she'd be hunted by the Crimson Dawn the whole time, and she's just like you said, she's really staying to sacrifice, herself so that Han can get away.
She just wants the power.
It could be that too. But I think it's more of the former than the latter.
Yeah.
I think she really does. She helped Han so many times, and she didn't have to kill Dryden Voss if she didn't want to, although it did increase her power.
Right, but yeah, she would have survived that if she had just offed Han. But
right.
I think there was because of the way what was it? Like their relationship had been, and they still kind of romanticizing like what they had. Her story is a lot more tragic.
Yeah, I would agree there. She's definitely tragic. So now is a good time to talk about the leader of the Crimson Dawn?
No, because we still have to talk about the best fan service ever.
The best? What? How did I miss this?
Han shoots first.
Han shoot right. Han. Did I not say that before? Oh, I didn't. I read it. I didn't actually say it. Yeah.
Like he learns all the lessons he can from Beckett, and he knows that Beckett's going to turn on him that one last time. And before Beckett can like go into that lesson, he just shoots him.
That was great. I love that. As soon as that happened, I was like, "Oh my god, Han shot first. That was awesome."
Yeah,
that was the biggest fan service. You're right.
But then, as that whole thing is going on, cut to the Kira calling her the secret boss of the Crimson
Dawn,
Maul.
Who is Maul, and not what I thought was cool. It's not Darth Maul. In the credits, it just says Maul.
And that is because he's no longer Sith,
right?
Because he was cast aside, and through stories in Star Wars Clone Wars and Star Wars and stuff you learn in Rebels, like he survives. He survives here's another spoiler warning for Star Wars Rebels. He faces off against Obi-Wan Kenobi later on and does end up dying, for reals this time.
Right. So this is between that point in Rebels and.
So like this is between the point in time where the rise of the Republic and the rise of the Empire and and where Rebels, but before Rebels starts. So there's still stories to be told within this era about him, but like as soon as I heard the voice, because it's the same voice actor who does them on Clone
In
Wars
Rebels?
and Rebels, I'm like, oh my god, that's Maul.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I know that's been a point of contention for a lot of people who only watch the movies. So like, how did he died? Like, no, you got to pay attention to everything. And this is one of those things where they're directly referencing stuff that doesn't happen in the movies that's important, and you need to pay attention. It's almost like you need to pay attention to everything now, because anything can happen.
When I saw him, my wife finally woke up, and when I saw him, all I could think was, at last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge. And that's all that kept popping in my head. I'm like, wow. And I couldn't believe it, but it just makes sense that, you know, he's in control of this Crimson Dawn, and he's doing okay.
Yeah.
And there's a precedent within the Clone Wars series where when he reappears, he eventually forms a coalition between a bunch of the crime syndicates, the Hutts, the Death Watch, the Pikes. They all form like a kind of a crime syndicate there, and kind of try to take over like Mandalore and get a little power. But you know,
right.
that doesn't always go the way that things plan, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So him being in charge of a crime syndicate does make sense at this point in time.
Right. See, I knew he was alive because I watched Clone Wars, but I did not watch Rebels. No, I don't mind. I don't mind the spoiler. That's not a big deal.
Yeah, but Rebels is some of the best Star Wars storytelling that they have.
All right, I'll go back to it. I'll definitely watch Rebels. I knew it was really good, but
the first season is slow, but after that it's good.
I'm patient with shows.
As it picks up, as it goes on, and that final season, man, that those last episodes are rough.
They're bad, or just
heartbreaking good. Yeah, there's a lot of tears shed.
Yeah.
So after we've just broken down this movie, what are your final thoughts on Solo? Because we all gave a kind of a one-word answer.
Yeah.
I'm looking for that reason. Dent?
Why I just said smiles as my one-word answer?
Yeah.
Because even with all the flaws, I walk out of that movie and I'm just smiling. Like, I had a great time. I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed the adventure that we are on. It didn't feel like a slog. Like we just said, with Last Jedi, that it was that was a slog to get. Like, I liked some of it, but it was just, I don't know, there's stuff of it. It's in my ranking that gets down to more towards the higher end of my prequels in my listings, where Force Awakens actually is tied for last. And Rogue One is, I liked Rogue One, and I liked because it was different. It doesn't it's a bittersweet ending. I'm not smiling. I'm not grinning happy, but I'm like, I enjoyed that. Like, that was fun. So
yeah,
with Solo, I just once it started, once he got him on Minban and he joins up with that crew, it's just a good time from there on in.
Sure. Nick?
Yeah. Well, initially I said it was fine because I like Dent saying it was a fun ride and stuff like that, but I had a lot of criticisms. But in talking to Dent, and I would have probably learned this if I watched it more than once, a lot of my criticisms cleared up as you analyze the movie a little bit more. So I'd probably change it going forward to say, maybe say fun or something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing it once, if you're not picking it apart and seeing, you watch it once to ingest it and get your initial reactions, but once you see it a couple more times, you start digesting it and getting more of having a critical eye towards it. So your view changes on it.
Right.
That's why I was saying, like, after each viewing, my smile just got bigger.
Yeah, I'd predict mine would do the same. My first initial reaction was like, "Oh, that was fine." I didn't like some of the stuff, the directions they went in, but it was a very enjoyable movie. It was sort of, it just kind of like that's why I said, "Yeah, it was fine." But upon dissecting it a little bit more, I think I enjoyed. My opinion is improved on the movie for sure. Marcus, what do you think?
Well, I said the word fun. So the whole movie from beginning to end, it was lighthearted.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Like, it was a fun ride. The critics that are saying it was bad and terrible, I think they're just assholes. And I think for me to walk in there, I walked in there with a chip on my shoulder going, fuck this Alden guy. He's never going to be Han Solo.
Yeah, he's not.
I'm going to see it because I have to, not because I want to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Kind of a thing. Go ahead.
There's also the baggage that this movie had.
That's true.
Like towards the end of production, they switched directors. I mean, Ron Howard gets the director credit, but the Lord and Miller get exec producer credits instead of directing it because they were fired for creative differences.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But my point is, the movie was fun. It was good. I enjoyed it. I don't need to see it again to know if I like it or not.
Yeah.
Like, if it comes out, I'll buy it on Blu-ray just to have it, and I'll put it on.
Yeah.
But it was fun. I enjoyed it. On to the next. But my last question, and I really want to dive into it just a little bit. We had a new movie in December. Then we had another one in May. Mm-hmm. Now we're getting one in December.
No, we're not. We're not getting one until 2019.
Oh, that's what I meant. I'm sorry.
So it's going to be a year and a half instead of 6 months.
Right.
Which I think that was a mistake. They would have been better off if this was released on that December weekend that they've been using for the last the previous 3 movies.
Right.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
My question is, and this is how I just need to end it with this. Is it too much Star Wars?
See,
well,
I remember Star Wars during the dark times when there wasn't really much. So I kind of like the mixed feelings. So when the prequels come out and like the Phantom Menace comes out and it's like, oh my god, new Star Wars movie, this is the greatest thing ever, I'll go see it like a dozen times in the theater because I did and I thought I loved it. And it's an okay movie. It has some good things in it, but it dredged on with a lot of stuff that like all the political stuff and the Senate stuff and a lot of that's not what you want to kind of have in like an action adventure movie, which is what we were kind of used to with the original trilogy. So I'm fine with having them do a movie a year and then having supplemental stuff like the animated series come out and occasionally reading a comic book or listening to an audiobook or something like that. So I think they pushed the envelope a little bit with having such a short time between releases. This isn't Marvel where Marvel has the benefit of decades of stories that they can translate into movies,
right,
and content to use. Even though like Star Wars kind of had like a whole bunch of expanded universe legends stuff that they can pull from, it's not quite the same.
I agree. Yeah, I think they're bordering on too much Star Wars, but I don't think they've crossed that threshold yet.
Well, you also have to remember that Disney paid $4 billion for it, so
they've already gotten paid back.
Maybe for merchandise and stuff, they might be pretty close to it. You think
they've been paid back?
Yeah, but it's not about being paid back. It's about continuing to make money off of it.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I think it is too much Star Wars. Everybody can talk about the dark times and all that, but that's what made Star Wars great. When there was no fucking movies, your kid was going out in the backyard and grabbing a stick and saying, it's Luke's lightsaber, and you were making your own story. And you were doing all those things, and this is where everybody can call me the negative Nancy, because I just think, I think of, and I always go back to this is my go-to release schedule, is the Call of Duties. Yeah. Call of Duty came out, and it was like, whoa. And then they started coming out with one every single year. And it got to a point, and it's to the point now where I do enjoy them, but I don't even want to play them anymore.
Right.
Because what's the point? It's grown so much that it's uncontrollable for me.
Right. It's the same thing every time.
Right, exactly. So my point is, if Disney, they're going to make their money no matter what.
Yeah.
And I wish they would play the longer game where release a movie every 2 years. If they did that, they'd make as much money as they made off The Force Awakens every time.
Right.
Because now every movie is going to make less and less. Less and less.
Yeah.
Less and less. Because people, there's some people I know that I'm like, hey, you're going to go see the new Star Wars? I'll wait for it to come out on digital. I saw the last one. I don't need to see this one too.
I'm not that excited for the next saga one, because the more I think about it, J.J. Abrams can start a movie very well and is very strong on that. He cannot finish a movie, let alone a series.
Yeah. Ergo, Lost ending.
Ergo, Star Trek.
Well, yeah, right. So, but
the best of those three movies that they came out when they rebooted it was that last one. The first one was fun.
The first one was great.
Yeah.
Don't take the first Star Trek away.
It didn't end that
great.
well.
The
second movie was atrocious what they did.
Well, I didn't see the second one. The first one was unbelievable, because I remember walking into a place and they were like, you need to listen to this on the sound system in this store. Just listen to the opening scene. Sit down for 10 minutes and watch this scene with this ridiculous sound system. I don't know. I don't think it was Best Buy. I think it was a store like that. Yeah. And the surround sound and the sounds coming out of that first Star Trek movie, it was unbelievable. But the thing I don't agree with is how they gave Rian Johnson episode 2 of this trilogy.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't just have J.J. Abrams take it the whole time.
Whatever the reason is, doesn't matter. I just think J.J. had a vision. They fucked him on it. And now the whole Skywalker saga is fucked because of that. Yeah. Because Rian Johnson made it this fucking fantasy movie.
Yeah.
And it is a fantasy movie, but like it's a Star Wars movie, and like it went in the wrong direction. Like JJ was building for Snoke and Rey's parents, and Rian Johnson was like, "No, fuck you, dead. Who cares about Rey's parents?"
Yeah.
And it brings me to the all these movies piling on. It's just too much. They need, in my opinion, they need to slow it down, because what's going to happen 5 years from now is there's going to be so much Star Wars, people aren't even going to care about it anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just going to become, I don't want to say Marvel, because there's so many characters in Marvel.
Yeah, Marvel does a nice job with their stuff.
What's going to happen is now they're going to make the Revan story, the Knights of the Old Republic, whatever, and people are going to be like, I don't even want to go see it.
Right. That's a good point.
I want Star Wars, but give it a break between them. You're going to make your money.
Yeah. We want to see as fans all the content, but we want it to be commercially successful. In order for other people who aren't fans to want it, you need to space it out so they're not sick of it. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. And like Dent said, so if they release it every 2 years, fill it in with a Star Wars cartoon.
Yeah.
Or comic
cartoons, it's animated series. Calling it a cartoon is insulting.
God damn it, Dad.
Come on. It's a cartoon.
No,
it's an animated series. It's a graphic novel versus comic book.
Well, right, exactly. It's a graphic novel versus comic book. Perfect.
You knew what Marcus meant.
Yeah.
He's just a working class nerd, okay? He meant animated series.
Right. It's just so. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot to wrap it up. What do you think?
Sounds good.
I think so. I think we've covered most of everything we needed to on Solo, a Star Wars story, except the one little thing that I also kind of I was a little annoyed with. I think so. On your saga films, you always have the opening crawl. It's like a 3-sentence long description of what's going on in this universe, for this particular story.
Yeah.
Right.
So they made the decision way back when to say only the saga films get the crawl. So they give Ron Howard Solo. He's like, "Oh, I want an opening crawl." It's like, you can't do an opening crawl, but I like an opening crawl. That's like one of my favorite things of it. It's like, fine, you can do title cards, but you can't do a crawl.
Yeah,
so instead, they do the same thing that the crawl does, but with title cards, with a little bit of instrumental music building up to the action that's about to begin.
Yeah.
So I kind of wish that they just did the opening crawl
just
instead.
do the damn crawl. They should have done the crawl with Rogue One too. It's a Star Wars movie. Just do the crawl. Who cares?
I was fine with them not doing a crawl. Just bam, you're there. But
that's fair. But I see what you're saying.
Yeah, when they did opening for Solo, they did the title crawl cards, but it was still like the 3 sentences that was describing what's going on in this universe at this point in time for the story.
Right. It's the same, effect as the crawl without the crawl.
It should have just been a crawl.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree.
My final thought is that was the last piece of cheese.
What are you guys talking about in here?
Find out next episode of Working Class Nerds.